Howdy doody, my name is Cameron, better known as Venus Theory, and in this video I'm here to show you around Circular, a new polyphonic sequencer instrument that allows you to morph and interact with sequences in real time. Circular is a polyphonic sequencer that combines sampling and rhythmic tools, transforming static notes into dynamic musical patterns shaped by polyphonic aftertouch. Featuring a comprehensive library of 168 sound sources, there's room to explore everything from delicate acoustic sequences to more contemporary sound design-oriented performance patches. This instrument is great for complex polyrhythmic layering, improvising with live performances, and intuitively shaping sounds to inspire new ideas. The play page is where the core pieces of Circular are located. Here we can play our patch and hear how it responds to things like aftertouch or the mod wheel. Or, if your controller supports it, polyphonic aftertouch and MPE. Poly aftertouch is particularly powerful within Circular because it can apply effects to different parts of a sequence on a per-key basis. When modulation is being applied, you can see this reflected in the note display at the bottom of the interface. Circular comes with over 250 presets to get you started, and you can navigate these with the browser at the top of the interface here. While you're playing around with Circular, if you wanted to quantize your performance to a specific key or scale, you can do so with the note quantizer at the top of the interface here. Each patch also has a set of performance macros you can use to control things like the patch's variation, which is a per preset specific control mapped to the mod wheel, reverb, and delay, and you can tweak those with the top left of the interface here. The main visualizer in the center of the interface also acts as a basic sequencer. Here, we can click a layer ring to draw in a sequence. Or we can generate one using the sequence generator functions. The patterns you generate with Circular can also be exported directly into your session. If you click a layer, you can access the MIDI recorder function, which you can arm and then record a sequence. Then you can drag and drop any of the 4 sequences into your DAW to use it as MIDI information. As you can probably guess, every patch within Circular is made up to 4 different layers. You can choose the layer presets within your patch with the corresponding browsers for layers A, B, C, and D, respectively. Once you've set up your layers, you can also select their voice assignments with the menu below each layer's section. Circular is made up of 4 independent sequencers, and we can dive into the deeper parameters of each of these sequencers by going into the Sequencer tab here. This is the exact same for all 4 layers within a Circular patch, so we'll just be taking a look at one. In the upper left, each layer can be set to either polyphonic mode, where multiple notes play their own sequences with individual start point options, or arpeggiated mode, where notes are played sequentially based on a chosen pattern. Each sequencer is built up of a few different lanes, and each of these lanes can have separate looping behaviors which we can control using this icon here. Within the step duration lane, we can change how long each step takes to advance to the next step. To edit these individually, you can select a step and alter its length. If you click on the play range, you can also see the range panel, which shows the numeric controls for the loop settings at the top here. Below that, the parameter sequences can be linked to the sound lane or have individual loop and playback settings for each of these sequences. That brings us nicely to parameter lanes, and this is really where a lot of the action within a Circular patch starts to happen. Every step in a sequence can have individual settings for the velocity, probability, note offset, length, and momentary step effects. If you're working on a patch and you want to quickly bypass a parameter, you can do so using the toggle next to that parameter's name here. Step effects are incredibly powerful. These step effects are individual effects applied to each step when played back, and there are up to 3 different step effects available for each step. You can use any modulation source in the Mod Assign section in the lower right to determine which of these 3 step effect slots is applied to the current step. And Circular has no shortage of these different step effect types. You can create ratcheting effects, send individual steps to the granular processor, add arpeggios, or even add articulations like bends or trills. There are dozens of different effects that you can try out, and when controlling these effects through modulation like Aftertouch, you can create incredibly diverse and expressive patches from even pretty simple sound sources. In the sound lane, we can set up the sound for each step of a sequence. This means that we can change the sound source and sampler parameters for each step within a sequence. The loaded sample per step is indicated on these buttons here, which also serve as a step selection tool for the sequencing page. Mixing and matching all the different sample types here is actually a lot of fun and leads to some really unique results. Below each of these sound names, you can also control the last touch sound control using the step modulator located below the step select buttons. So if we click the low pass resonance here, for example, I can adjust this on each of these individual steps. All of this makes it really easy to control how a parameter changes as a sequence plays. While Circular does come with a pretty sizable sound selection in the factory presets, you can actually drag and drop your own samples within Circular if you want to use Circular as an engine for your own custom sounds. To add your own sounds, you can just drag and drop a sample onto the step, and it'll be loaded into one of the 128 user sample slots. It's also maybe worth noting here that when you import your own custom sounds, you can still use all of the parameter controls and even the step effects within Circular's engine. While you're working on a patch, if you'd like to quickly edit multiple steps, you can use Control or Command to click and highlight multiple steps within a sequence. This will apply any changes to all of these selected steps, and if a knob or slider is used on them, it'll offset that step's relative value. It's also possible to quickly copy and paste steps. To do this, you can just use the 3-dot menu in the sound preset area to copy the step, then select the step or multiple steps you would like to paste it to, and then use the same menu to paste. In the bottom of the Sequencer tab, you can adjust the sound settings with per-step sound controls for the tuning and the sample start point. To the right of that, you'll see the filter and amplifier with their respective controls, as well as an envelope over here with the amp and filter envelopes separately available. Over to the far right, we have the modulation section, and here we can assign up to 2 modulation sources for any selected parameter within a sequence. Within a Circular preset, anytime you see a dot on the interface like this one here, that means that the control is being targeted with modulation. Other parameters like velocity or probability can also be controlled with modulation. So, for example, using something like Aftertouch to control the velocity is a great way to shape the dynamic response of a patch. If you want to edit the LFOs or shaper modulators, you can access those with the Modulate tab here. With Circular's polyphonic response and design, each layer within a patch has independent modulation, and any modulation applied within the Sequencer tab is actually polyphonic, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is pretty ridiculously powerful. Because of the depth of Circular's engine and sequencing, it might seem a little bit overwhelming to start dialing in patches, but it's actually pretty easy to do with the intelligent randomization features that make it easy to start generating ideas with just a few clicks. With the die icon, you can randomize a section with random values or intelligent random values. This can do things like alter the velocity values, or alter the sounds while keeping the same instrument type, or basically anything else that you might want to randomize to create a fully fleshed out sequence. As an example, here's a patch I created solely using randomization in just a couple minutes. Moving on, let's take a look over at the Effects tab. Each layer in Circular has 4 different effect slots, and here you can choose any effect and access its parameters within the area below. You can also quickly experiment with different effects chains by dragging and dropping the modules to reorder them. The grain effects section controls the effects applied to the granular step effects generated within the sequencer. As with the layer effects, this has 4 different effect slots available. The grain effects section also has its own separate level mixer. You can use the 4 different colored icons next to the grain effects area to adjust the level of each layer sent to the grain effects chain. In the sends area, you can access the 2 different send effects slots, and we'll touch on these more in just a moment. And finally, in the global effects area, you can set up to 4 global effects applied to the output bus of a circular patch. Along the bottom of the effects interface, you might have noticed the modulation section. As with the sequencer, you can modulate any selected parameter within the effects section with up to 2 different sources. Last but not least, let's move over to the Mixer tab. Over in the Mixer tab, we can access the general mixer for your circular patches. Here we can adjust the level, panning, and individual sends for each layer within a circular patch. This can also be adjusted for the grain effects here with a master level control as well as panning and sends. Circular also features multiple output support, so if you wanted to route these to individual channels within your DAW or send the grain effects out to a separate output, you can adjust this with the output settings here. And that is a look at Circular from Native Instruments. Circular is a powerful and intuitive expressive sequencer, and we've really only just scratched the surface of what you can create with it here in this video. Whether you're looking to create intricate rhythms, dynamic textures, or experiment with sequenced soundscapes, there's a lot of room to explore and create with Circular, bridging the gap between sound design and musical expression. Circular is available right now. If you want to check it out for yourself or find more information, you can head over to nativeinstruments.com. And that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And of course, as always, I hope this inspires you to get out there and make something awesome.